It all began like any ordinary late-night interview. Stephen Colbert welcomed Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett to his stage with his usual flair. The audience clapped, the lights beamed, and the energy was electric. But no one, not even Colbert himself, was ready for what was about to unfold in front of millions watching live. Jasmine Crockett walked in with her signature confidence, flashing a smile that hinted she wasn't here for a typical Q&A. Colbert cracked a light joke, something about Texas politics, expecting a chuckle. Instead, Crockett leaned into the mic and replied with a sharp retort that instantly shifted the room's mood. She called out the double standards in media portrayals of women of color in politics. "You love to make jokes, but it's not funny when the consequences affect real lives," she said, silencing the previously raucous crowd. Colbert's smile stiffened as he tried to pivot the conversation, but the fire was already lit. Attempting recovery, Colbert posed a question about bipartisan cooperation. Crockett smirked and shot back, "It's hard to cooperate with people trying to erase my constituents." The audience let out a collective, "Ooh," as she continued, uninterrupted. Her tone wasn't angry, it was righteous, resolute. Colbert, visibly tense now, tried to lighten the mood. "You're very passionate. That's admirable." Crockett didn't blink. "Passion comes from pain, and we're tired of people laughing while we're hurting." The air thickened, and cameras captured the shift in Colbert's usually relaxed posture. Sensing he was losing control, Colbert tried steering things toward her recent legislative win. Crockett acknowledged it but swiftly brought attention to ongoing injustices. "A win means nothing when the system is designed to lose us." At this point, the studio audience was locked in stunned silence. Producers backstage started exchanging glances. The segment was veering far off the scripted banter they'd prepared, but Crockett wasn't interested in playing the part of a charming guest. She came armed with truth, and nothing was going to stop her from delivering it, not even Colbert himself. He interrupted, "Congresswoman, let's keep it light, this is late-night TV." Crockett leaned forward, her voice steady. "Black lives don't get to be light. Not when we're under attack on every level." The crowd gasped. Colbert's discomfort was now fully visible, and the tension was undeniable. Trying to regain ground, Colbert reached for a prepared joke. "So, should we outlaw suits next since they're symbols of the establishment?" he said with a forced chuckle. Crockett's eyes narrowed. "Your jokes are shields, but I'm not here to make you comfortable." The audience murmured in agreement. In that moment, the divide between host and guest was clear. Colbert, who often mocked politicians, was now face to face with one who wouldn't be mocked. His attempts to redirect kept failing. Crockett wasn't rattled. She spoke with the clarity of someone who knew the stakes were higher than ratings. He took a long pause. "Maybe we should take a break," he said. But Crockett wasn't done, of course, because truth makes people uncomfortable. Before he could reply, she added, "Especially when it's women like me speaking it." The cameras kept rolling. Social media was already exploding. #Crockett on Colbert began trending within minutes. Clips were being shared across platforms. Some praised her courage, others accused her of disrespecting the show. But regardless of opinion, no one could deny that Crockett had shattered the mold of a typical late-night guest. Colbert's team huddled backstage during the commercial break. Some wanted to cut the segment short. Others knew it was too late. The moment had gone viral. Every second was being dissected, praised, criticized. Crockett was on fire, and pulling her now would only add fuel. When the show returned, Colbert tried again to reset. "So, what do you like to do outside of politics?" he asked with a half-smile. Crockett, unfazed, replied, "I resist." He blinked. "You resist?" "Yes, I resist the urge to stay silent in spaces like this, where truth is treated as disruption." He laughed nervously. "Well, you've certainly shaken things up tonight." Crockett nodded. "Change never comes easy, Stephen. But it always starts with discomfort." At this point, even the audience members who came for laughs were sitting on the edge of their seats. Suddenly, Colbert stood up. "Okay, Congresswoman, I think that's enough for tonight." The crowd gasped again. Crockett stood as well. "Of course, it's always enough when we stop playing the game." She looked around the room. "But I didn't come here to play. I came to tell the truth." Security appeared from the wings, but Crockett didn't resist. She calmly gathered her papers and turned to Colbert one last time. "You'll regret silencing voices like mine." He said nothing. She walked off stage to stunned applause from a section of the crowd that clearly understood her message. Backstage, producers were panicking. Social feeds were exploding. News outlets were already running headlines. Colbert had just made one of the most controversial decisions of his career, and the fallout was only beginning. His audience was divided, his critics emboldened. Meanwhile, Crockett held a quick press briefing outside the studio. "When the truth gets too loud for comedy, maybe it's not the joke that needs reworking," she said. Cameras flashed. Her composure was flawless. She knew exactly what she was doing, and the nation was now watching. By morning, networks were replaying the footage on a loop. Analysts debated whether Colbert had lost control or taken a stand. But the real story was Crockett's unshakable resolve. She became the face of righteous disruption overnight. Her words were quoted across continents. Petitions began circulating. Some demanded Colbert apologize. Others wanted Crockett banned from future appearances. But the one thing no one could do was ignore what happened. Her voice cut through the noise, and millions heard it loud and clear, whether they agreed or not. Colbert released a statement. "While we value diverse opinions, we also strive to maintain a respectful tone." Critics pounced on his wording. "Respectful tone" was quickly mocked online as code for "don't challenge the status quo." The backlash only intensified. Meanwhile, Crockett remained unfazed. She continued her congressional work as usual. Her schedule was packed with town halls, interviews, and community meetings. But everywhere she went, people now stopped her to say, "Thank you for not backing down." Her moment had become a movement. Late-night hosts weighed in. Some stood with Colbert, others sympathized with Crockett. The entertainment-political line had blurred beyond recognition. No one could predict how this would shape future interviews, but one thing was certain: the rules had changed forever. Calls flooded CBS. Advertisers hesitated. PR teams scrambled. What began as a regular late-night segment had become a national reckoning. Viewers were demanding accountability, transparency, and most importantly, authenticity. Crockett had cracked open a conversation that wouldn't close. Behind the scenes, Colbert reportedly expressed regret. "Maybe I should have let her speak," he told a close associate. But the damage was done. The clip had already become a cultural landmark. And it wasn't going away. History had been made on that stage, live and unfiltered. Young politicians began citing Crockett as inspiration. Hashtags like #unscripted truth and #stand like Crockett dominated timelines. Her words were turned into graphics, shirts, and rally signs. She didn't just walk off that stage, she walked into the hearts of millions. Colbert invited her back days later, but she declined. "I said what I came to say," she told reporters. "This isn't about me, it's about the people I represent, and the truth they deserve." The power in her stance echoed beyond television. It became part of the broader national dialogue. Colbert's ratings took a hit. Some viewers felt betrayed, others claimed he had revealed his true colors. But the debate itself was evidence of something bigger. Late-night comedy was no longer safe from the consequences of real, hard truth. And Crockett had proved it. Think pieces flooded blogs and newspapers. Was Colbert wrong? Was Crockett too harsh? The questions kept coming, but the moment remained unforgettable. It had rawness, defiance, clarity, all live, all real, all unforgettable. It wasn't just a TV moment. It was a cultural flashpoint. And somewhere in Washington, Jasmine Crockett carried on with her head high. Not because she sparked controversy, but because she refused to dim her truth for comfort. The clip remains etched in history, a symbol of what happens when politics, power, and platform collide live on air.